Look at
So
that.
much cooler.
He's showing
Always.
off the hottest new scarf.
Always so much cooler than everyone else. Okay, just sit down.
Wait, aren't you from like the Mugatu line of clothing from Zoolander?
Derelict or something, I think.
Derelict.
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 Nice pull.
I'm still like hearing this like dance music playing. Or are we doing like a dance party? Monster Squad dance party remix?
Oh no, my phone.
Always.
It's not my phone.
It's not your phone. Where's it coming?
Yeah, let's do it.
And there it goes.
And-
Bye.
Well, thank you guys so much
Hi,
for
Lindsay.
joining us here. I love it. Like, you know the audience, like personally.
Well, yeah.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you to the three of you for joining us here at SuperCon. I am obsessed with Monster Squad, and I'm assuming everyone else here is obsessed with Monster Squad as well. You know, it was my childhood. And obviously now that we still have this documentary, Wolfman's Got Nards, which I can't wait to hear all about, you know, it's still, you guys still have this huge, huge fandom. So out of curiosity, how has being part of Monster Squad changed your life?
Well, up until about 2006, it kind of didn't. Except for the fact that it was a wonderful experience for myself, you know, personally. But, you know, it wasn't until we realized that, you know, there was, you know, a much larger fan base than we could ever realize when it really became impactful for like this sort of section of our lives, I believe.
Yeah, likewise on the first part. And then it's been kind of fascinating over the last 10 or 12 years that there was this big resurgence that we realized that these people were out there and these fans were just clamoring for more info and access and, you know, to be able to celebrate their connection to this movie. And that's what we've been enjoying for the last 10 or 12 years. And it's kind of mind-boggling sometimes. It's very interesting.
Pretty fun.
It's very fun.
Yeah.
You super got to appreciate it because it's fun too, yeah.
What I think is so cool is that, like, the three of you, like, do you guys, like, keep in touch outside of the Monster Squad stuff?
Meh.
Yeah,
Sometimes, yeah.
No, yeah. Andre and I have a few projects that we do together.
They never invite me.
We
What's up with that?
we have
Right?
we have a podcast called Squadcast.
That they still haven't had me on.
We're waiting for special, you know, a
It's gonna
special
happen.
time.
It'll happen. It'll happen.
It'll
Right
happen.
now is a special time.
Likely story.
And this is it. Here it is. You're
And
on
welcome to-
Squadcast.
Welcome to the 28th episode of Squadcast, starring Ashley Bank, our special guest.
Yeah, fuck you guys. I'm not doing it.
Andre and I also did a show on Nerdist Network called Short Ends, where we basically curated some short films from around the world, and that's on what's the website?
It's on Nerdist Alpha channel, which is still around for some reason. Yeah, that was great. We did 2 seasons of that show and celebrated short films and filmmakers. And then, you know, all last year, I was working on the documentary and traveling around, and you know, we went on a 17-city Alamo Drafthouse theater tour. For that was mind blowing for 17 days, and they all did their interviews, you know, in the studio, you know, for the crew, and you know, came out with a good documentary. So the last couple years, we've been, you know, really, really tight and involved stuff. But ever since that first screening, now that we're all back in LA and we all live kind of near each other, we get to see each other regularly.
So when you were actually filming this movie, was it something like you were filming and you were like, man, you know, so many years, like now in 28, we're in 2018, right? I almost forgot what year it was. In 2018, like people are still going to be talking about it. We're going to be making a documentary, or were you just filming it and having a good time?
Just filming it and having a good time. I don't think any of us could have foreseen what it sort of became or what the impact ended up being.
There was definitely like an immediate feeling like maybe this was going to be something huge at the time. Because when you're on a set like that and filming something on that scale, like where you're hoisted up and there's wind machines blowing and, you know, there's, you know, you're stabbing things and, you know, and there's cameras everywhere and the crew is huge and you're shooting on the Warner Brothers backlot and the Universal backlot. And, you know, you just feel like this is, you know, large scale. And it felt very epic and something that, like, when this comes out, people are going to, you know, pardon my French, shit their pants. It's going to be amazing. And then, you know.
And then it shit the bed instead.
Yes. And then, you know, so thinking that it was going to be huge and then it wasn't huge and then just forgetting about it for a very long time. So there was definitely no anticipation that all this was going to happen later.
Do you guys remember how long the actual like filming schedule for the film was?
3 months, 4 months.
Oh wow.
I think we were on it as the cast for about 3 months and a few days.
With
Um,
kids, you shoot for a lot longer because they only get, I think I was only allowed to be on set a total of 5 hours a day and only on screen 2 hours because of how young I was.
So what do you do like as far as school? Like if you only have a certain amount of time.
You have
on
a
set?
tutor that we all drove crazy, I'm sure. Ryan especially.
Yeah, when you're
least.
a school age actor on a Saturday, you have to go to school every day because it's a state law, and it's a minimum of 3 hours. So you have to be in a classroom with an accredited studio teacher doing your work that you have to get from your school ahead of time and map it all out. And when you're doing something for 3 months at a time, you have to go get 3 months of schoolwork from your school. So a lot of schools don't like it, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. But it's just part of the fabric of working with kids, which is why everybody says don't work with kids and animals.
True. Do you have a favorite monster from the movie?
From Monster Squad?
Yes.
Do I have a favorite monster? I always liked the Wolfman. I kind of thought he had there was a lot of like electronics in his face and things like that. So I was like always fascinated by how that all worked and things like that.
Did you get to see like the inner workings of that?
I mean, well, when he approaches me at the end, and am I spoiling anything? We're all here. You've seen it, right?
I think so. I hope so.
And I shoot him. When we shot that, he's up there, and there's like 5 guys off to the side, like working his magic. So yeah, I saw all that.
That's so cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, there was a lot of intricate stuff built into that, the main helmet face for that Wolfman. And back in that day, it's all connected with like remote control and radios and wires that they're pulling off to the side. And then now they do it, it's all like Bluetooth and things can move around. And so it's just to make ears and mouth and lips and eyes move in a practical creature environment.
If they're doing practical.
If they're doing practical.
Interesting.
And it was just fascinating to see sort of that, because at that time it was the pinnacle of creature making, technology and ability and art. And then, a few years later, everything almost moved to digital. And now it's funny because things are kind of moving back to practical. People like to see that. So, but I think my favorite monster in our movie is that Gillman costume is pretty cool because I'm a Creature from Black Lagoon fan, so I kind of have to like our creature.
So you must be happy this weekend.
Oh, he's like 2 tables down from
Yeah.
me, which is totally rad.
Oh my gosh. What about you?
I mean, I feel like I am obligated to say Frankenstein. But I also always had a really soft spot in my heart for the Mummy. Like while we were filming, I was just like, "Oh, the Mummy, he's so cute." He didn't scare me.
Who was the actor that was Frankenstein? Was that Tom Noonan?
Tom Noonan.
I did a convention with him not too long ago, and like we were talking about Monster Squad. Like, are there any other actors that maybe you guys have like run into at conventions that have also done Monster Squad?
Yeah, well, sometimes we get lucky, and there's usually a genre convention or horror convention. Well, they'll bring everybody in, so all of our monsters are signing with us, or we're signing with them as a group, and we do a panel, which is really rad. Sometimes they go off on their own, and we're not there because they just want monsters. It's a convention that just wants monsters. But I'd say every once in a while we get to hang out with Tom and Michael McKay and Duncan Regeer, who played Dracula, who's amazing. And it's neat when we're all together. That's pretty impactful for fans to see everybody together.
Very cool.
Actually, the first time we did a convention where we were all there, and Tom Noonan was there, I walked up to Tom Noonan and I said, "Nice to meet you. I'm Ryan Lambert. We've never met."
I'd never met him either.
Because he was so method when we shot it that he wouldn't acknowledge us as anything other than children,
Scary
like,
humans.
characters.
Because he was always in character as Frankenstein's monster.
Well, and also his makeup took so long to put on and take off, and we could only be there as kids for a certain amount of time. So he showed up hours before we came to set. They did all his makeup, and then he kind of hid out away from us. We came to set, and then we met in front of the camera.
Okay, so that's like interesting to think about because obviously like there's method acting, but like What goes into a method actor's head that's playing Frankenstein's monster?
The answer is Tom Noonan.
Oh,
You've got to ask Tom that question.
next time, I'm absolutely going to have
He
to.
even did an HBO interview or something that ended up on HBO as a teaser to the Monster Squad, I think, or something, some press thing. Maybe it was Access Hollywood, something that they said they want to interview you about the movie. He said, I'm only going to do it in makeup and character. So he did a press media interview for like Access Hollywood as Frankenstein's monster. So
him.
he kept it going.
Hmm. So whose idea was it to do the documentary Wolfman's Got Nards? I just want to keep saying Wolfman's Got Nards. I'm going to try to get that in there as many times as possible.
Please keep saying the name over and over.
Which documentary are you talking about?
Wolfman's Got Nards?
Well, that would be me.
Yeah.
About 2 years ago total. Just it popped in my head that all of these great stories when we go to conventions or appearances or screenings or Alamo, cinemas, draft house cinemas, that we come up and we meet awesome people. We're in a photo booth with Jeremiah wearing his Stephen King Rules shirt, and like Lindsay, we met sort of on Friday, but she wasn't here, but her friends were here, so we did a video because she had to work, and so we did a fun little video, and then she got to come today, and to realize that the impact, that the connection that fans have with this movie, we thought it was fun for a couple of years, and we didn't realize how deep it went and how long that would last, and it was so impactful to these people. And so over the last decade of hearing these stories and meeting these people, the original concept to make a documentary was how I thought those stories were a story, and how do you go about telling that? And I started a little bit with a different type of project, and it didn't really work out as well, and it kind of went on the back burner for a couple months, and then I had a very synchronistic, serendipitous, whatever term you want to, sliding doors kind of meeting by chance one day with a couple guys at Pilgrim Media Group, and they were on board from the beginning, and they go, we totally understand what you're trying to do because we are those people, and we're also filmmakers, so let's work on this together. Let's see if we can pitch it to the execs and get it done. And then it turned into something much more layered and much more complex, and it goes pretty deep. And it's not, I always say, it's not a making of documentary. It's not a definitive, like, where are they now, a documentary, because we've seen those. I always reference like best worst movie or like the Ghost, but like we've seen those, or it's not any of that. And it goes a little bit deeper, and it's really about the relationship that fans have with their favorite movie, even if it's not Monster Squad. It just happens to be that kind of connection, and that impact is told through the lens of Monster Squad fans about the Monster Squad experience and how it came to be, why it was, how it affected certain people, and how it still affects people to this day, all told through the lens of Monster Squad experience, whether you're a fan from Des Moines or Philadelphia, or you're the director and writer of the movie, and how this movie actually impacted personal lives.
And so was this something like the movie aside, did you ever think that you were going to make a documentary? Like, is that ever a passion of yours?
No. I love creating. I love, making stuff. I love being in things, directing, producing's all fun. Like, we've all done it. It's amazing. Documentaries are obviously, personally, I'd be like, I'm never making a documentary because I'm a control freak. I'm a perfectionist. Like, I line up screws when I'm hanging a cabinet. And it's something like a documentary would never be finished. We get in that trap, right? It's like, it's not done. This ended up luckily being a different situation, and it doesn't play like a documentary. It plays like it was almost like a scripted narrative story that we were trying to tell with all of the amazing footage and interviews that we got. So we got very lucky with the team that I got to make this with, to be able to craft that in a certain way that now made making a documentary not that hell on earth that every documentary filmmaker says their experience was. I had a great time. Exhausting because we did so much in less than a year.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
the entire process was less than a year to
Yeah.
create?
Yep.
Wow. And I know you guys screened it here last night. So out of curiosity, like, what has the feedback been like for the movie?
From my perspective, it's been nothing but awesome, which is great. Even media, press, critical review, but the fan response is exactly, I couldn't have asked for better. And then these two are in it, and Ryan's seen it a couple times, and Ashley's now seen it once at one of the bigger events. So they have great perspectives on kind of like what that first initial response was.
My husband, who's probably only seen the Monster Squad like twice, saw the documentary and was so blown away by it. He was like, I've seen the movie, sort of. He's like, but even if I hadn't, I would really be into the doc. So I think that there's something in there for everybody because it's a universal feeling, like you were saying, to connect with your favorite movies from childhood or the ones that made a big impact on you. And everybody has those, regardless of if it's Monster Squad or True Beverly Hills or some other random 80s movie or 90s movie that you love that made an impact for you.
I mean, I was around for a lot of it, you know, and one of the experiences that I had was we went to London for a screening at the Prince Charles, and one of the days was kind of like, you know, I had like a few hours most of the day off, you know, can walk around, and I'm like, I'm gonna go eat breakfast here, and then I'm gonna go here, and then I'm gonna go do this, and like most of that time, the cameras were like following me around, and I was like, leave me alone, like, get away from me. Like, I just want to have like this nice, beautiful day out in London. I'd never been there before, and I want to go see Big Ben. I want to see Parliament, Big Ben, Parliament, and then yeah, they were just like, and they were, you know, the crew was friends of ours. You know, we'd been around them for a while, so we're also like eating lunch and whatever. And the cameras are just every once in a while the camera would come, and I'd be like, Henry, can you just get that stupid thing out of my face for a second? Like, I'm eating. Like, get away from it. And then when I saw the finished product, the first thing I thought when I saw that footage that they shot in London and just the overall feel of the film, I was like, oh, this is what you've been doing the whole time? I had no idea that this was going to come from that. And the segments of the doc are just incredible and overwhelming in a really heartfelt and emotional way. Not just from my perspective, but I can see how you can see the impact that this film has had on people like no other film that these people have seen before.
Well, out of curiosity, like obviously us being here, like Monster Squad has affected us in certain ways. What movies would you say has had an impact on your life?
I mean, the reason I'm even sitting here right now is because my mom took me to see a film at the Cinerama Dome in Los Angeles. If you've ever seen what that building looks like, it's very iconic. Opening day, I saw the film 3 times, and I looked up at the screen each time at Henry Thomas, and I just said, I bet I can do that. And that was the first time that I realized that what acting was. I was like, I know that he's not Elliot. And that had the biggest impact on me. And still to this day, if I see that film or I hear that music, or, you know, I even see like a T-shirt with E.T. on it, that brings me back to that time of my life. And I think that's what most of like something like Monster Squad is. It's just sort of like, it's more than nostalgia. It's just like that feeling of going back to where you were and like wanting to share that with like whoever, you know, whether it's your family or like friends that had never seen it before. So like, you know, if someone had never seen E.T., I'm like, you never saw E.T.? What are you, crazy? So yeah, that was that for me.
Oh God, there's so many. I'm such a movie nerd. Probably Princess Bride was a big one for me. I already outed myself with Troop Beverly Hills. And God, there's all these movies that were just about like, I'm a feminist, and there were a lot of movies in the 80s that were about young girls and women kind of like breaking free from what was expected of them and sort of doing their own thing. And those always really spoke to me. So Dirty Dancing.
Yes.
Which Ryan has never seen.
Ryan has never seen Dirty Dancing.
Probably have, I don't know.
Oh,
Because he's
what?
dead
Dirty
inside.
Dancing.
Probably.
Has everybody in here seen Dirty Dancing? At least 80% of us, right?
You've seen The Lift, right?
Thank you, sir, for being the first hand in the air.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, I know
Appreciate
the
that.
iconic moments of like film because I'm like a film nerd and like sort of like a pop culture, aficionado. So I know the references. If you say the lines, I'm like, that's from Dirty Dancing.
Okay, well, at the end of this panel, we're doing the lift.
Just
So.
gonna- yeah.
Oh, hold on, let me.
Wait, no,
you mean
no,
you're
we're
gonna lift?
Ryan.
You're gonna
Yeah,
lift
oh,
me.
no, Ryan's
You're gonna
going
lift
up.
me. Okay.
Yeah.
Movies are interesting of how they, connect if you're at a young age because you were, young when you saw E.T. You were young whenever you saw your first. You were working when you were young, just like I was. So it's different when you're 5 and in a movie, and then 5 and watching a movie because you kind of know what movies are, but they can still kind of connect with you. I think one of the earliest movies that probably shaped what I was doing at the time or had was Grease. Because my sister and I ended up my sister was an actor. She's a little bit older than I am, and she worked a bunch in the 70s and early 80s. And then I came along, and she was like put in the garage.
Wait, what?
No, it's good. I became like the like my mom was like, yeah, you now. But she's great. My sister was in. Does anybody remember the disaster movies of the 70s, like Poseidon Adventure or stuff like that? So my sister is the little girl in the Towering Inferno, which was a giant, huge movie. It's like one of the biggest movies of all time. And she's the little girl that gets rescued by Paul Newman. So I grew up seeing this crazy disaster movie where people are getting burned up and jumping out of a high-rise building and my sister getting saved by Paul Newman. So Towering Inferno and Grease and, were like super impactful as a little tyke. And then, movies that always resonate with, like you were saying, are usually kind of like the adventure movies where you rise up to a challenge. Or I love movies about teachers or coaches and sports as a vehicle for that. So Hoosiers and Mr. Holland's Opus and things like that are
And we can't
impactful
forget
for
The
that.
Last Unicorn.
You're the last. Oh, yes, you're the last Unicorn fan right here. There you go.
One of the all-time greats.
And you see so many. What's also interesting is when you grow up in the movie business, you audition for almost all of these movies. You may not be in them, but you know about them way before they come out. So you're kind of, if you're surprised by something in a movie that you've never seen, that's kind of cool too. But there's so many great movies that can impact you as a kid.
Were there any movies that you auditioned for?
Oh my God.
The-
We all have lists of movies that we almost got.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'd love
We
to
everybody
didn't
hear.
does
get that we're
yeah.
like,
Yeah. What's your all-time? Your number one?
Yeah, screen tested, signed contracts, the whole thing, bags packed, ready to go. There was 2. The first one was Adventures in Babysitting.
Oh, wow.
That was me first, and then like some legal stuff happened. I didn't do
I was
anything
about to say, like,
illegal.
you-
It was just
You
all
went
like
to federal
old were you?
prison.
paperwork.
It's a really bad tenure.
Paperwork. And then the other one was a film called Grounded. Bags packed, signed contracts, ready to go. Like it was shooting in Mexico City, and then the director had a heart attack. Stuart Gordon, if you're a horror fan, he did Reanimator, and then he had a heart attack, so they wouldn't let him do the film. They were like, "Nope, you're not doing the film." We got another director. The director said, "We want to screen test you again," and I was like, "I'm gonna pass." And then they went and shot the movie, and they changed the name to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. So those are the 2 big ones that I. There's another one with Tucker, with Jeff Bridges' Coppola film that it was neck and neck, and then they gave it to Slater. So, Christian Slater.
Well, he's not in Wolfman's Got Nards, so haha, Christian
is not in
Slater.
Wolfman's
What about you?
There's like Ryan said, there's a ton, but kind of some of the top of the list type stuff. I was like a West Coast choice for Dead Poet Society, and they gave it to some punk named Ethan Hawke.
Also not in Wolfman's Got Nards.
Yeah, there was a Peter Weir actually wanted to cast me in like 3 movies. Somehow he liked me as what I could do for these roles, and one was Mosquito Coast, and ended up not getting that at the very last minute. And then there's always those stories that you get offered something and you pass. And I had come out of this neat run by doing a development thing with 20th Century Fox, doing a bunch of television shows with these producers out of that studio, and then we did Monster Squad. And then Fox became a new network in '88, and they had, I think, 7 or 8 original shows, and I got offered 2 of them, and I chose the one that was one starring George C. Scott and had Madeline Kahn and Conrad Bain, and it was produced by Johnny Carson's company, and huge TV producers were in charge of it, and it was guaranteed for 2 seasons. And they were paying a lot more than the other show. So I did that show, and then it got canceled after 2 seasons. And the other show was Married with Children.
I actually think like this is kind of an interesting topic because I've never really had the opportunity to talk to people about stuff like this, and this is like really neat. Does a
Yeah, it's neat
podcast
stuff.
exist about this?
Or what?
Like I'm saying, like, is there a podcast that exists about this? This is cool.
The roles you didn't
I think we're doing it
I
right now.
think
Yes.
we're
This is
doing
episode
it right
1.
now.
Okay, good, we're
Just,
filming this
Can we
one.
just name it like episode 32 of Squadcast with special guest Ashley Bank?
There you made it, Ashley. You did
yay.
So, you realize this is like our Kimmel Matt Damon thing.
Whatever. I'm never doing your squad
We're
squadcast.
doing it. We're
Oh,
off the hook.
good.
Whatever.
Never.
Perfect.
So, if it's okay with you guys, do you mind taking some questions
No,
from the
let's do it.
audience? If
Yes.
that's
Do it.
okay. So we have a microphone set up right up front. As far as I'm aware, nothing was too off limits.
Don't be shy.
So-
Walk up.
We clearly have no boundaries.
Or
so.
just holler at us.
We've also
yeah.
met a lot of people, and they've asked us a lot of questions
right.
already. But
There
There
might
if you
not
have,
be any left.
maybe you have a question that we can
Or a new question.
re-answer.
Just holler out. Anybody. It can be about Monster Squad or about Troop Beverly Hills.
I could answer all of those
Bueller?
questions
You can
too.
answer every single one.
Every single one. That was
Carl-
one of the
Carla
ones
Gugino's
That's
in
one of the
Troop
ones I missed out on.
Okay.
That's what,
I
yeah,
was
it's-
I was 2 years too young. They cast everyone that was like 2 years older.
Yes.
Okay, I can tell you guys like a weird question that I hear a lot, like in panels, and we can debate this.
Yes.
Okay, so the question that I hear a lot, I've not heard it yet this weekend, but I can't believe I'm gonna ask this. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
Okay. You're like,
I'm
I
gonna
love
go with
that
no.
question
No?
because
No.
it is not.
No.
That drives me insane.
Why? Go, Ryan.
A hamburger is not a sandwich either.
Is it not?
Hamburger is not
No.
a sandwich. It's a hamburger.
Yeah, it's different. I'm with Ryan on this one.
I don't care. They taste good.
If I say
guess
like
that's
I'm gonna
kinda
go get a sandwich, you're not thinking like, oh, he's gonna get a hot dog.
This is
Like that's not the first thing that you wouldn't think that.
so. My mission now is to say I'm going to go get a sandwich and come back with a hot dog just to see Ryan squirm.
I'm gonna be,
It's
and
gonna be
I'll say like, oh,
fantastic.
you decided not to get a sandwich.
I mean, no, this is a sandwich.
I'm trying to think what other like interesting.
what else? What does anybody else think?
Come on,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
get weird.
There's a
Is a hot-
question.
Yes. About Monster Squad or Troop Beverly Hills? Okay.
or Dirty
'Cause
Dancing.
My favorite spot in True Beverly Hills is when she walks into the pool.
Peanut butter cookie time. Oh, that's a good spot.
I've
That's
never
good.
seen
I
it.
love when she's because
Ryan's also never seen Troop
Brilliant.
Beverly Hills.
he's
But
dead
you're in
inside.
love with Carla Gugino.
Well, I worked with her.
Go watch Troop Beverly Hills.
And The Haunting on Hill House.
Well, yeah.
I heard
No,
that
that's
was
all new
great.
stuff.
So
That's-
good. So good. She's so good. My favorite part is probably the scene with me and Mary Ellen in my bedroom when she puts me to sleep. And I'm asking her about Sean getting in trouble. And she mistakes it for me questioning the marriage of my parents. Because it's just like it's like a deeper level. And I loved working with her so much. And it was such a like quiet, sweet scene. So that's my favorite. Aside from, of course, like the big end, which is a blast.
You got one? I used to love just the scene when I shoot the Wolfman. Just because there's so much chaos going around my character, and I'm just sort of like kneeling down, and then a cop comes, like rolling into me, and I grab his gun, pull out the silver bullet, put it in, bang, shoot him. Then, I mean, everyone's favorite line is always, "I'm in the goddamn club, aren't I?" But if you watch that scene, it's now my favorite part because if you go view it again, and I did not know I did this until like not that long ago, I actually like almost knock Andre on his ass. And that's as I'm walking away. You want to recreate it?
I'm in the goddamn.
Yeah, let's do
okay,
it.
we'll do that. Okay.
Let's do it. So I'm
Guys are such
wait.
nerds.
Yeah, wait, I'll be here. I'm here. Okay. And you're going over there.
wait. Your
So you're-
favorite.
Yeah, I'm looking out here. Fine. We'll just do it right here.
Okay. So
Yeah, you're here. Okay.
they're doing the thing, they're talking to the thing, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, fuck it. And I put a cigarette in my mouth and I go, and I just knock him right out of the way. I'm in the goddamn club, all right. And then I go off and kill
And
all
history
and I
is
go
made.
kill all the monsters.
And that's how history's made.
Wait. I have a question. If you both could stay there, I feel like we need to go into like a whose line moment, and we need to do this scene a little differently.
Okay.
Can we play it out a little differently?
Okay.
Okay. So where are they located now? If it's not Monster Squad. No, we're doing this, guys. We're making this happen. Okay.
I love it.
Okay. You're on
Can
the
I
moon.
play?
You're on the moon.
We're on the moon.
Okay. We're on the moon. And what's his motivation for the scene now?
Come on, you guys. Someone play. Yeah, you.
Okay.
Ooh,
you want the
the
last
slice
cake?
of cake.
And where are they from? Or an accent of sorts. Japan. All right. You're on the moon. You
Ooh,
want the
I can't
last.
do-
You can't do Japan. Okay.
That sounds like a little racist. It's like, it's
how
gonna get
about,
racist.
how about Southern? Can you do Southern?
Okay.
Okay.
Wait,
You want the last.
or it could be like,
I
you
got
going,
it.
Rudy?
I got it. Let's do it.
Scene.
It's my goddamn birthday, isn't it?
wait. Because of the 1/6 gravity, I'm flying further away than I should be. Where are you going, Rudy?
And scene. That was brilliant.
Cake.
Thank you for indulging in that weird moment. Round of applause for our actors, everybody. Thank you.
You guys are such fucking nerds.
That was amazing. And now do the lift. No, just
Oh,
kidding.
God.
It's fine. No, are you for real?
I'll barf.
No.
I'll probably barf.
one or both of them will die. We can't
The,
do that.
No,
the
we don't
secret
want
is
that.
getting the hips, not the ribs.
It's in the hips. It's in the hips. What was the question again? Favorite scenes.
Oh,
for-
what was
for-
our favorite
favorite
scene?
scene?
Yeah.
See what happens?
Sorry.
You said Mary Ellen. You said shooting Wolfman.
No, bumping you.
Bumping you.
Oh, bumping me.
Knocking you on your
Oh, it
ass.
used to be
Knocking
Wolfman,
you
but it's
over.
bumping me now. Obviously, I think we all start with like that. The final sequence is so gnarly because so much happens in that, and we were there, and it was just crazy. I think I like the scene between me and Stephen Mott. Like you and Mary Ellen. I think the scene between the father and son in the bathroom, because there's so much more going on there than just like, because we don't even know monsters are about yet, right? And
Both those scenes are just so grounded,
the-
I think.
Yeah, they could almost be like, those are like scenes that could be in like This Is Us now or something, right? Just some drama, family drama on network television. But it's a great scene. I think my favorite line in the movie is when Ashley off screen goes, "I heard he killed his dad," talking about Rudy. I was like, well, first of all, who would say that? And second of all, how do you know that? I love it.
I know everything.
I love it. But I think one of my favorite sequences is when Dracula pulls up and runs over my picket fence and is so pissed, and he rips the back door of the hearse off one-handed. That just looks really cool to me.
I always really liked Duncan's walk towards me also, where he just like takes out all the cops without even
Oh, what-
flinching with like the neck thing, and
That's
like he
a-
just pushes. It's an amazing like stride.
Yeah, no, it's not only amazing on him, but that's a really neat camera shot and one
really
long.
well
kinda-
choreographed,
It's
too.
really well done. Yeah.
Who
Good-
asked the question? It was you that asked the
good
question,
call.
right? What's your favorite scene?
For the first time, by the way. It's
I
totally-
live to make people cry.
It gets everybody every time, right? Who's your favorite monster? Now that you've seen it. Yep. We did have the conversation of how steamy Dracula is, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, he's kind of a babe. And wait, who brought the toothbrushes? Was that you that brought
That
them
was
the
Lindsay.
toothbrushes? That was very kind.
Super thoughtful.
Any other questions? Because we still have a couple more minutes left, unless you guys want to act out any more scene. We still got about 5 minutes. Any questions? Anything at all?
No, actually, I was in the. I've never had that question before. That's awesome. I just was repeating whatever Leonardo was saying, so I don't even think we practiced. They were like, "No, it's more realistic if you just have to figure it out on the fly." So he just said it, and I repeated it.
Pro.
Any final questions? Well, any final thoughts from the three of you? Maybe like what's something about the three of you that the public doesn't really get to see?
Well, I've been in bands since then. I've got a bunch of albums out there. One of the bands is called Elephone. The other band's called Kill Moi. I was in San Francisco for 15 years, so that's where that all came from. So yeah, that's what I've been up to for a while. I'm back in LA now, trying to get some projects off the ground, and we'll see what happens then. But if you want to like follow us, I always like update stuff. Ryan Lambert 111.
Not 1-1.
Nope. There's 3 of them.
Well, because he
Oh, right.
he
On
left
Twitter,
Twitter.
right.
I left
On
Twitter.
Instagram, it's Ryan Lambert 111.
Yeah, 3 1s.
Don't forget the final one.
Yeah. What are the significance of the 3 1s?
I have no idea. That's so old because it was like my old like email was like something 111, and that's like that's what they
screen
gave
name.
me like originally like
At
Yahoo.
Netscape.
And it was like Yahoo or something like a EarthNet or something.
Angel Fire.
Yeah.
Earthlink.
And then so that just stuck. So it was always like Ryan 111.
Prodigy.
111.
Prodigy.net.
Oh God.
So I write and I act, and I used to produce documentaries. People probably don't know that about me. I'm going to take this opportunity to plug my husband's show. My husband has a brand new television show premiering on the History Channel on January 8th at 10 p.m. called Project Blue Book, which I've sort of been supporting him through working on for the last year. And it's a scripted show starring Aidan Gillen, who's Littlefinger from Game of Thrones, and Michael Malarkey, who's Enzo on Vampire Diaries. And it's about the U.S. Air Force's final investigation into UFOs in the 1950s. So it's like X-Files in the time of Mad Men. And it's all based on real declassified cases from that era. And so it's awesome, and I'm super excited about it. The show's really great. Watch it, please, or at least DVR it and play it back when you're in the other room if you don't want to watch it, so that it looks like people are watching it.
No, it looks great because it looks really well done, and I know they worked really hard on it because I can't wait for it because I saw the first promo and I was like, there it is.
It's very
and it's
exciting.
not even my project. I just know the people that are doing it. And I'm into UFOs in the 50s. So I think, what was the question? Like something that most people might know about us since they only know us as Monster Squad. I am from LA, but I have a lot of family roots in North Carolina. And I've always been a basketball fan and always been an athlete and athletic and jumping around on things. But I always wanted to play basketball in college. And so I left the entertainment biz for a number of years and actually went to play college basketball in North Carolina. So that's something that a lot of people don't know about me.
I had no idea. But
Yeah,
now I
there you
know.
go.
All right. So, anything else you guys want to plug before we have to wrap it up?
What was the documentary called?
It's called Wolfman's Got Nards.
That's right. And if anybody's on the social media stuff, like the interwebs, follow it at the Squad Doc. And we always post kind of BTS stuff or updates. We just finished kind of our 6-month film festival run that was basically on all sides of the planet for about 6 months. And right now we're in kind of the distribution release schedule, figuring it out phase. So hopefully in the next couple of months at the Squad Doc, we'll give you sort of the updated of where you can see it, where you can buy it, what theater it may be playing in, or what streaming service it may eventually go to. So please stay tuned to that, and because we want you to see it.
Awesome. Woohoo. So,
Thanks for coming out, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.